His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa sent a cable of congratulations to the President of Algeria, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, on his country's anniversary of the November the 1st Revolution Day. In the cable, His Majesty wished lasting good health and happiness to the President and to the people of Algeria for further progress and prosperity, praising on the strong fraternal relations between the two countries and peoples. His Majesty affirmed Bahrain's keenness to develop relations between the two countries in various aspects of joint action. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, sent a cable of congratulations to the President of Algeria, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, on the anniversary of Algeria's Revolution Day. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister sent a similar cable to the Prime Minister of Algeria, Nahar al-Arbawi. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, yesterday met with the Minister of Interior of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Naif bin Abdulaziz Al Saud at Qaddabiya Palace. The visit is part of the Saudi Minister of Interior's role in leading the Saudi representatives at the Security Subcommittee meeting under the framework of the Saudi Bahraini Coordination Council. His Royal Highness commended the strength of relations between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, which continue to advance with the support of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the custodian of the two mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. His Royal Highness acknowledged the mutual commitment to expanding the bilateral partnership, affirming that the deep-rooted Bahraini-Saudi relations continue to flourish, strengthened by the shared history and strong ties. His Royal Highness expressed appreciation for the efforts of the Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, in advancing Bahrain-Saudi cooperation by supporting the various committee initiatives of the Saudi Bahraini Coordination Council. His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud conveyed the greetings of the custodian of the two holy mosques and the Saudi Crown Prince. In turn, His Royal Highness extended his greetings to the custodian of the two holy mosques and the Crown Prince. His Royal Highness highlighted Saudi Arabia's role under the leadership of the custodian of the two holy mosques in strengthening regional security and development across various sectors, thereby supporting Arab and Islamic causes and promoting joint GCC efforts. During the meeting, ways to enhance bilateral relations were discussed, along with the latest regional and international developments and issues of common interest. For his part, the Saudi minister expressed gratitude for His Royal Highness's commitment to enhancing cooperation and joint coordination and wished Bahrain continued progress and prosperity. His Royal Highness hosted a dinner banquet in honour of His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud and the accompanying delegation. His Majesty the King's representative for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sport, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Isa bin Salman Education Charitable Trust and Chairman of the Board of Directors of Tamkeen, His Highness Sheikh Isa bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, and several senior officials were in attendance. On behalf of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the First Deputy Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, Chairman of the General Sports Authority and President of Bahrain Olympic Committee, His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, yesterday patronised the closing ceremony of the ISF Gymnasiad Bahrain 2024 at Khalifa Sports City, in the presence of the Minister of Education and Chairman of the Supreme Organising Committee, Dr. Mohammed bin Mubarak Juma, GSA CEO Dr. Abdul Rahman Askar, and a number of ISF representatives. On this occasion, His Highness expressed thanks and appreciation to His Majesty for his patronage and congratulated His Majesty, His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and the representatives of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Affairs and Youth Affairs and Chairman of the Supreme Council for Youth and Sports, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, on Bahrain's success in organising the event and Bahraini teams winning 66 medals, including 13 gold medals, which placed Bahrain in 13th place out of 71 participating countries. His Highness praised the achievements made by Bahrain in the event and praised the efforts of all government and private entities that contributed to highlighting the event and achieving organisational success. His Highness also praised the role of the Supreme Organising Committee, the Executive Committee and all working committees and volunteers, wishing them further success. The closing ceremony included a speech by Education Minister in which he expressed pride in Bahrain hosting the event, which witnessed the exceptional participation from students from around the world. He also thanked His Royal Highness for his support and His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad, as well as His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad, for their continuous support the event has received.
I thought the event was great. The country of Bahrain is a very beautiful country. Definitely not a place I've been to, never thought I would been to, but it's a great country. Everybody here is very nice and very helpful, and I think just overall it was a great event.
As you can see behind me now, surrounded by my boxers, it's the biggest delegation in boxing here during ISF, where our boxers have amassed an amazing 23 medals. Yeah, 12 bronze medals, 8 silver, 3 gold. Every single one of them got in there and did the Kingdom of Bahrain really proud.
Well, for Bahrain, this was a really good experience. We made a lot of friends from Bahrain and from other countries. The people from Bahrain really received us with a lot of happiness and and they help us a lot with a lot of things.
And this event was really good. I enjoyed it a lot, and I just hope that maybe for more futures to come, people would come to Bahrain to just explore the city, because it's a really nice city as well.
ما أسداه من توجيهات أسهمت في نجاح هذه الدورة وعززت مكانة مملكة البحرين كوجهة لكبرى البطولات الرياضية.
The executive and legislative authorities held their first joint meeting to discuss options for the draft state budget for fiscal years 2025 to 2026. The Representative Council Speaker, Ahmed Abu Salim, affirmed that the directives of His Majesty the King and the royal speech during the opening of the third session of the sixth legislative term will be the main path towards the approval of the state's general budget draft law. He appreciated the efforts of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister and keenness to promote cooperation in discussing the state's general budget for the fiscal years 2023 to 2024. He affirmed the legislative authority's keenness to discuss the draft law, approving the state's general budget. The Shura Council Chairman Ali Al-Saleh affirmed that the directives of His Majesty are the basis of the draft state budget, praising His Royal Highness's follow-up to consolidate cooperation between the two authorities. He praised the efforts of the Ministerial Committee for Financial and Economic Affairs to move from fiscal balance to financial sustainability in preparing the draft state budget, stressing harnessing all legislative efforts to reach consensus on the draft budget. For his part, the Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, stressed the importance of the draft state budget law as one of the pillars of achieving the objectives of the next development phase under the leadership of His Majesty and the follow-up of His Royal Highness. He conveyed the greetings of His Royal Highness and his wishes for the success of the joint meetings to discuss the draft budget law, in addition to his directives to the government team to fully cooperate with the legislative authority. The Minister noted that the draft budget law will focus on maintaining positive economic growth in parallel with achieving the fiscal balance targets, in addition to continue creating promising opportunities for citizens and developing the quality of government services. He asserted that the importance of strengthening the close cooperation between the two authorities, pointing out that this stage requires collective efforts and joint consensus to fulfil the aspirations of citizens. During the meeting, the government team reviewed the latest developments in the implementation of the Fiscal Balance Programme and the requirements to move to fiscal sustainability, as well as the options regarding the draft state budget that prioritises the citizen by creating promising opportunities, developing financial and economic support programmes, and increasing the efficiency of government expenditures. President of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, the SCIA, Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa, received the Grand Mufti of Egypt, Dr. Nazar Muhammad Ayad, the Secretary General of Al-Azhar's Council of Senior Scholars, Dr. Abbas Abdullah Shaman, and Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Elders, Muhammad Abdul Salam. The delegation's visit to Bahrain marks the participation in the High Committee meetings for the upcoming Islamic Dialogue Conference scheduled to be held in Bahrain in the first quarter of next year, under the patronage of His Majesty the King. SCIA President welcomed the honoured guests and congratulated the Grand Mufti on his appointment. For his part, the Grand Mufti underscored His Majesty the King's initiative in establishing and hosting the Islamic Dialogue Conference, organised by the SCIA in cooperation with the Al-Azhar and the Muslim Council of Elders, and for His Majesty's sponsorship of this important conference. He also noted the historic relations between Bahrain and Egypt and the close cooperation and coordination between their Islamic institutions, particularly between the SCIA, Al-Azhar and Egypt's Dar al-Ifta. The High Committee of the Intra-Islamic Dialogue Conference held 2 days of intensive meetings headed by President of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Khalifa. The meetings were attended by Grand Mufti of Egypt, Dr. Nazar Muhammad Ayad, Secretary General of Al-Azhar's Council of Senior Scholars, Dr. Abbas Abdullah Shaman, and Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Elders, Muhammad Abdul Salam, in addition to other committee members representing the organising bodies. The committee expressed gratitude to His Majesty the King for the initiative to hold the Intra-Islamic Dialogue Conference in Manama in mid-February 2025, following the invitation extended by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmed Al-Tayeb, at the Bahrain Dialogue Forum in November 2022. The committee noted that this initiative reflects His Majesty's commitment to fostering coexistence, Islamic unity and interfaith dialogue among Muslims, seeing it as essential for uniting the Islamic nation and building solidarity in facing shared challenges, grounded in common beliefs, values and ideas. The committee approved an implementation plan with a clear timeline and established working committees defining the roles. It also discussed strategic partnerships with global Islamic institutions, praising the positive response and shared commitment to Islamic unity. Meanwhile, the committee reviewed the conference themes, programme and list of international participants, approving discussion topics. Organisational, logistical, technical and media preparations were assessed, with a commitment to ongoing oversight to ensure the conference's success. As part of his official visit to the Kingdom, the Saudi Minister of Interior, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Naf bin Abdulaziz, and the Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, paid an inspection visit to the King Fahd Causeway that links Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. Upon their arrival, the two ministers were received by Deputy Emir of Eastern Province, His Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Banda bin Abdulaziz, the Governor of Zakat, Tax and Customs Authority and Chairman of King Fahd Causeway Authority, Engineer Suhail bin Mohammed Abanbi, the Head of Customs Affairs and Deputy Chairman of the Board of Directors, Sheikh Ahmed bin Hamad Al Khalifa. The two ministers were briefed on the projects of the King Fahd Causeway General Cooperation, including the expansion of the procedures area, which aim at facilitating the crossing of travellers between Manama and Riyadh, in implementation of the directives issued by the Saudi Bahraini Coordination Council, which is chaired by the Royal Highnesses, the Crown Princes and Prime Ministers of the two countries. During the visit, they were also briefed on the work performance of the passenger lounge for public transport users, as well as an explanation of the special prepaid toll lanes that reduce the average waiting time at the gates to less than 15 seconds. Meanwhile, the Saudi Minister of Interior, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Naif bin Abdulaziz, and the Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, visited the Special Security Forces camp. During the visit, His Royal Highness the Saudi Minister was briefed by the Chief of Public Security, Lieutenant General Tariq bin Hassan Al Hassan, on the development plans to upgrade security services to the highest levels for excellence of performance and to enforce the law and maintain a public order. The Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, yesterday received Saudi Arabia's Minister of Interior, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Naif Al Saud, upon his arrival to Bahrain, to lead a high-level security delegation on an official visit in the country on the occasion of the third meeting of the Security Subcommittee of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council. Upon the arrival of the Interior Minister and His Royal Highness to the Interior Ministry's building, a group of honour guards performed the salute. Senior officials at the Interior Ministry then greeted His Royal Highness. After that, the meeting of the subcommittee began, where the Interior Minister stressed that this visit is a qualitative shift and in addition to security cooperation and coordination between the two kingdoms within the framework of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council, based on the solid fraternal and historical relations between the two countries, under the leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The Interior Minister praised the positive and constructive spirit of the meeting of the subcommittee of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council, chaired by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz. He praised the role of His Royal Highness in enhancing security and his keenness to continue the subcommittee's work and achieve common interests in maintaining the security and stability of the two brotherly countries and unifying positions in the face of security challenges. He emphasised the importance of security initiatives that aim to enhance joint security cooperation in preparation for submitting them to the Secretariat of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council. He explained that this visit aims to enhance joint security work and anticipate the security situation in the region to maintain the security and stability of countries, especially since it comes at a critical time in the region which calls to continue coordination and cooperation to enhance security cohesion. For his part, His Royal Highness praised the distinguished fraternal and historical relations between the two brotherly countries, affirming that this meeting comes within the framework of strengthening the existing security cooperation between the two brotherly countries and coordination in security areas of common interest, bearing in mind the aspirations of the leaderships of both countries. His Royal Highness praised the efforts exerted by the working teams to achieve the initiatives that were agreed upon, the percentages of achievement and what was agreed upon in the subcommittee's minutes, after which he directed the working teams to make redoubled efforts to accomplish those initiatives, wishing Bahrain and its people further security and stability. A number of important security issues of common interest were discussed within the framework of what was issued by the third meeting of the Council, within the framework of enhancing cooperation and coordination in security work and building on what has been achieved through the initiative of the subcommittee to confront regional and international security challenges. At the end of the meeting, the Minister of Interior and His Royal Highness signed the meeting minutes of the subcommittee. Attorney General Dr. Ali Al-Buainian participated in the 16th annual meeting of the GCC Attorneys General and Public Prosecutors, which was held in Qatar, in the presence of GCC Secretary General Jazim Al-Badawi. Al-Buainian called for continued efforts to establish unified frameworks for public prosecution and agencies to achieve GCC goals and principles, aiming to unify systems and approaches in all fields. The goal is to establish a judicial cooperation system with fixed rules for crime prevention, individual rights protection and preserving a council country's capabilities and interests. The Attorney General emphasised the use of artificial intelligence in public prosecutions and called for a unified GCC law that includes technical control rules, judiciary and public prosecution rules and human protection. The Attorney Generals and public prosecutors discussed a number of topics and reviewed the experiences of a number of prosecutors. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, participated in the panel discussion titled How Economic Diplomacy Can Promote Global Cooperation, as part of his chairmanship of Bahrain's delegation participating in the Future Investment Initiative held in Riyadh. The Minister praised the Kingdom's outstanding efforts in doubling the volume of foreign investments in Saudi Arabia to 20 times since its first edition of the Forum until its 8th edition. He stressed the importance of strengthening international cooperation and continuing to adopt more innovative solutions and future policies that support comprehensive and sustainable economic growth. Sheikh Salman stressed the importance of unifying efforts and strengthening economic integration to face economic and geopolitical challenges and climate changes, in addition to offering innovative solutions that achieve sustainable development goals. He pointed out the importance of utilising modern technologies as an important tributary to various vital sectors, seizing qualitative opportunities by providing diplomatic solutions, forming strategic partnerships and attracting foreign capital, adding that Bahrain is keen to create more promising opportunities for the benefit of all. The Minister of Electricity and Water Affairs, Yasser Humaidan, and the President of the Electricity and Water Authority, Engineer Kamal Mohammed, planted trees at the new control centre in Hid, in line with His Majesty the King's National Action Plan for achieving carbon neutrality, and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister's National Tree Week initiative, which will be in the third week of October every year. The National Tree Week initiative aims to support the reforestation plan to increase Bahrain's tree count to 3.6 million by 2035, in line with Bahrain's commitments to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Bahrain Polytechnic organised the launch ceremony of its new identity under the slogan "Your potential is limitless," in the presence of the Minister of Education and Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Mohammed bin Mubarak Juma, board members and partners. He stressed that the inauguration of the new identity heralds a new and fruitful semester of the college, which has become one of the pillars of higher education in Bahrain, stressing the march of the college full of achievements during the past 16 years, in light of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and the relentless follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. He thanked all the partners and supporters of the college and to the current and former members of the Board of Trustees and members of the academic and administrative bodies, stressing the commitment of the board to support the college and enhance its efforts in development and expansion to align the requirements of the labour market and instill a culture of entrepreneurship between students and provide them with the skills of the 21st century and enhance relations with companies and institutions. The CEO of Bahrain Polytechnic, Professor Kieran O'Cahan, pointed out that the new identity of the institute reflects the values and uniqueness as a leading educational institution, to be a symbol of excellence and creativity in multiple fields, as it establishes the good reputation that the institute has built and the success it has made during the past years during the promotion of the quality of academic programmes, its adoption of unique teaching methods.
So the new identity, we've been working on this now for the last 18 months. It's just a time really to give the Polytechnic a rebrand after 16 years, but it also marks the share in terms of the innovation, the diverse nature of what we're doing now here in the Polytechnic, with students coming in from 18 up to their mid-60s doing programs, and our response to industry in terms of upskilling and reskilling. And we felt then it was time really for a fresh brand that would take us into the next stage or iteration. Having spent 16 years with the former brand, but it's not just throwing the other brand out, it's just building on that and building on that legacy. And I think to the new brand, it's fresh, it's young, and it meets sort of the needs of where we are as an institution going forward.
Government hospitals have won 3 regional awards by the Arab Hospitals Federation in the field of patient safety, delivered to them by the Minister of Tolerance and Coexistence, Sheikh Nayan bin Mohammed Al Nahyan, within the Golden Initiatives Awards, which is an honour granted to hospitals, health institutions or individuals who have demonstrated an exceptional commitment and made tangible achievements in specific areas such as patient safety, digital transformation and improving healthcare quality. CEO of Government Hospitals, Dr. Mariam Al-Jalahma, affirmed that this achievement reflects the efforts made to enhance patient safety, as the Quality and Risk Management Department has been actively working to improve patient safety through various initiatives, including the adoption of strict safety protocols, ensuring the application of best practices and enhancing patient safety. And to speak more about this, we are now joined over the phone by the CEO of the Government Hospitals, Dr. Mariam Athbi Al-Jalahmi. Hello and welcome, Dr. Al-Jalahma. Government hospitals have now won 3 awards for patient safety. What do these regional awards mean to you?
Yes, good evening, and thank you for hosting me with you regarding the awards that we have achieved. This means a lot to us because the awards that we won, the 3 that talks about the award, the most important, the one, the platinum for the award of the safest hospital, which means that we provide confidence for our patients that we are taking care of them and making sure that the environment they are receiving treatments in is safe. You know, there is a lot of hazard that can happen in hospitals as well. We can elaborate on that in terms of even patients' falls We're talking patient getting infections from hospitals. We are talking about patients being operated on the wrong side of operation. Many things happen in hospitals. If these hospitals don't maintain the culture of safety, putting strict policies and procedure to ensure that patients are in safe hands, then a lot of things and medical errors can occur. So by working hard to not only to achieve this award, but to ensure that reality on the ground, we have very strict policies, and we raise the culture of the patient safety, which is the Diamond Award that we got. And then the third award was related to digital transformation for patient safety, where we have initiated an electronic system that enables professionals to report electronically on any incident that has happened or could have happened. That even if a nurse could introduce the wrong medicine or wrong dose, and then they identified this before it happens, they report it as well. So we go into the detailed procedure of how can we prevent that. That means a lot to us to make sure that patients treated in our hospital are in good and safe hands.
How does this achievement contribute to enhancing healthcare in Bahrain and keeping patients safe?
Exactly. So we have a lot of support from our leadership and government to improve the services provided by the government, whether it's in the healthcare sector or other sectors. But in health sector, it's very important for us because the reputation that hospitals built over the years is very important, that patients would seek this hospital with confidence and that they will get the best treatment that the government provides. It raises the standards according to the international standards, either in the WHO or even the Millennium Development Goals, that the country is doing a lot to improve the services for the healthcare. And it reflects also all the key performance indicators that are required from a country to achieve the standard that the WHO ranks it.
And that was the CEO of the Government Hospitals, Dr. Mariam Azbi Al-Jalahma. Thank you very much for joining us. The Undersecretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for Political Affairs, Dr. Sheikh Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, participated in the United Nations Day on the 79th anniversary of the entry into force of the UN Charter, which was held by UN Resident Coordinator in Bahrain, Khalid Al Makwad, in the presence of a number of officials. He affirmed Bahrain's commitment to enhancing cooperation and strategic partnership with the UN in consolidating the values of peace, justice, human dignity and pluralism as they are established constants under the wise leadership of His Majesty the King and the directives of the government headed by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. He expressed pride in the UN's constructive cooperation and support for its principles in maintaining international peace and security, respecting human rights. He noted Bahrain's Strategic Cooperation and Sustainable Development Framework Agreement, signed with 21 UN agencies, has yielded positive results. He praised the speech of His Royal Highness before the UNGA, which highlighted Bahrain's significant strides in sustainable development, digital transformation and the adoption of an international treaty to regulate artificial intelligence, adding that it supports the goals of the Charter of the Future, peaceful coexistence, pluralism and cultural diversity. He said that Bahrain's initiatives before the 33rd Arab Summit demonstrate its support for peace, humanitarian work and ensuring security and prosperity for all. For his part, Al-Makwad stressed the keenness of the UN to enhance strategic cooperation and strong partnership with Bahrain to support the goals of sustainable development. The President of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Ifran Ali, received the credentials of the Ambassador of Bahrain to Guyana, residing in Brazil, Badr Abbas Al-Halabi. The Ambassador conveyed the greetings of His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, expressing their wishes for the President and its people of Guyana further progress and prosperity. The President highlighted the Bahraini-Guyana relations and wished the Ambassador success in performing his diplomatic mission. The Ambassador commended the bilateral relations and the development in various domains, particularly in economy and culture. And before we end the bulletin, let's take a look at the latest business news in the following report.
The chairperson of the Government Land Investment Committee and Undersecretary for Research and Projects at the Prime Minister's Office, Nof Jamshir, announced the launch of 3 new investment opportunities on the Government Land Investment Platform. She emphasized that offering such investment opportunities serves the efforts to attract more quality investments by strengthening partnerships with the private sector alongside the public sector and providing various services and promising opportunities for investors and developers that benefits the kingdom's citizens and residents. She added that investment opportunities will be allocated to residential lands in Salman City and that bidding can be done by visiting the official website. Meanwhile, ATMI, a CBB licensed platform for digital assets, was launched recently. The CEO of ATMI, Alex Lola, affirmed that the company offers a wide range of services.
So ATMI platform allows businesses to raise capital more efficiently by offering their assets in a tokenized form. Like, for example, a company which is looking for a way to expand their business can tokenize its future revenue streams, offering these tokens to investors for some upfront capital. So ADMI provides end-to-end tokenization services, to help convert traditional real-world assets into a digital form. So what basically digital token means? It's a digital copy that represents a claim on the ownership of the traditional asset. Like, for example, a real estate development company can tokenize some high-value property, or it's like some apartment building, enabling investors to own not a whole apartment, but just a small fraction of this apartment. Another important service which we provide is actually an exchange. So we allow not just to raise capital for the businesses and for the investors to invest, but also you can trade it.